I'm doing so good. Nothing makes me more exciting than watching high-level Quake like this, and this is certainly going to be a treat right here.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be up there with the many great finals you've casted, so let's hope it goes the full duration as we do start with Rapha's Poppy, who has the Athena, and Raisy has that Nyx.
Yeah, and I really do hope that is the case. We've already seen some absolutely phenomenal games this weekend. And hold on, we got a first fight over by the Heavy and blasting up those stairs, but caught in the stream of Rapha's LG. The first frag will go to Rapha. He gets a chance to set the pace here on Blood Covenant.
Yeah, I think Raisy went down to grab some information to see what his opponent was up to, and in doing so, just that slight overstepping and greedy play from Raisy cost him on both major items. Rapha has the high ground, he has the weapon advantage. Raisy's going to have to dodge for his life because he did not use that Ghost Walk for the first frag, so that was the only benefit to come out of that bad situation, and Rapha now has a full map lockdown. Raisy did go aggressive with that Ghost Walk, and it's not going to pay out as he did pick up that item. He's very, very low. Rapha can't get that frag, but has done enough to stall any further advances.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It looked like he was going to pick that one up, and Raisy did do some good damage versus Rapha, but Rapha's right back in rotation, waiting for that Mega, and we'll begin to head over to the Heavy. Not really sure what, I haven't seen if Raisy did grab himself a rail yet. I assume that he's equipped across the board right now. But 1-0, well into this game, a lot of match to go here. And, we might have another. Oh, nice. My God. That was beautiful. Rail up the jump pad.
Caught him off the spawn as well. Raisy does get the nice little jump, but those hooks are there. Rapha's going to chase him down. Will Raisy even pop the Ghost Walk? I think he has, and will be away for now, but just look what he's left with. Raisy is just struggling at all turns as Rapha has been relatively unscathed for this whole match, and whilst he may have been equipped before, he isn't now, and Rapha's found him at that jump pad, and Raisy once again is just scuttling away for his life, and this doesn't look good so far.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure that Rapha's putting on right now is certainly solid. And that doesn't mean that the tides can't turn, right? It's just a matter of Raisy finding an opportunity to take away that stack, to get that frag, and then, figure out how he can find some control in this map. But so far, Rapha has solid grasp of what's going on in this game. Fight near the railgun as well, and that's going to have Raisy running away again. I mean, Rapha's hitting some pot shots. Raisy is getting in a little bit of damage, but Rapha's, with that mobility that he's got with Athena is just top-notch here.
Well, just look at the tempo of the game, and for all the great qualities of Raisy, no player is particularly good when running away without anything to their name.
Yeah.
And Rapha's just doing such an amazing job of keeping that pressure up, keeping that tempo high, and blocking off all the routes for Raisy to make a comeback. And you can see that Raisy, somebody who is so proactive, is just hiding under the maps and the catacombs at the moment because he has nothing to work with and he doesn't know what to do. But he's established some basic stack, as you would say now, hopefully has a rail, has the Ghost Walks. We might see some pot shots coming from Raisy's side as he's moved over to the Mega side of the map.
I think Rapha has an idea where he might be. Rapha can't see that outline, but we can, and he does get a pop off on him. And it's those types of things, like that one rocket that could single-handedly put Raisy back a little bit more. Again, still in a position where he could do something in this game, but Rapha is being very impressive with his control.
Sure. For all the credit that Rapha deserves at this point in time, it is only 2-0, and as he makes the move up onto the top, he will be taking Raisy down again as he overstays his welcome. But a key point to note is Rapha, they are both playing a light champion, so even though Rapha has so much control, a single rail can even up the stacks if Raisy can get that basic starting stack up to scratch.
Yeah, just like that one that we saw there, and put a couple together, and that can change the tide of the game. We're going to have a battle over here by the Heavy. LG comes out. There's that rail that gets hit, and Rapha's going to be forced to run down to 60 points of health. Would pick up at 25. He's going to head over to the Mega, and we will have a small battle here as, it looks like
nice.
Raisy is going to get it.
And Raisy's got himself on the board in terms of an advantage. He's now been able to pick up this Mega. He should know roughly the timing for that Heavy as well, and he has the Ghost Walk to work with. He might even go aggressive with it because he's got Rapha.
Nice.
Back-to-back rails, gets himself on the board after 4 minutes.
And that's exactly what you said, you know, finding those shots. He finally hit those rails. First set didn't really do anything. Second set had Rapha running, and that gave him the opportunity to do what he needed to do. Ghostwalk comes out yet again, try to get position, and unfortunately for Raisy, Rapha is going to just be sneaking away, but this is it. This is the table's turn. 3-1, 2-frag deficit for Raisy, but this is where he wanted to be. You mentioned him hiding out earlier. Well, now he gets to go on the hunt a little bit.
Controlling this rail now, right, he's just fragged Rapha, is going to be paramount because the rail plays such a massive role in any level of duel, particularly in a light versus light, because it is that range weapon that can create these opportunities to push in, and obviously with the grapple, Rapha can do that. So if Raisy can control that weapon, it does look like Rapha's seen his opportunity. He will have a rail now, so that strategy is gone, and Raisy needs to play a little bit more careful than he was before.
And we're going to have Raisy waiting now for the Mega. Goes out perfect, but Rapha setting up a little bit of a trap, waiting on the upper levels near the rocket launcher. He's going to head back over, though, Ghost Walk to make a strategic move into the heavy room. Grabs that heavy, will get hit by a rail from up above, but that just puts him back a little bit here. He still has timing, still has the opportunity to grab some control. Tri-Bolts come out. I think he's going to chase on this one, and a beautiful shotgun. And I mean, man, I'm telling you, it's terrifying in his hands.
100%, and it's actually such a valid point because there's probably no one better, as you said on the panel, than Raisy. Using that super shotgun in the close range, and again, against lights, it's just devastating. Rapha felt the full force there, and we didn't get a lot of time to speak about the tactics of Raisy, but I do think he needs to take the advantage to push against Rapha. Rapha loves to be the one to be proactive, but if Raisy can continue this momentum, he's slowly clawing himself back into this game. Rapha's stolen away heavy, but Raisy's the one with the momentum at this point in time. And an aggressive Ghost Walk like this, Rapha will have no idea of what's going on.
Yeah, he's going to pop back out near the railgun. He sees him again just out of the corner of his eyes. Launches a few rockets that way. Are dodged all by Rapha, but here the LGs come out on the top of the bridge, and Raisy is forced to back off on that. Rapha really getting the better of that exchange. Rails do come out. Raisy down to 12 points of health and a shotgun to follow up, making it 4-2.
That is the issue at the very best. A slight overstepping of the mark in terms of Raisy. Got out of position, he lost the heavy, and he'll go down again for an easy frag. That was not the play he wanted. And that stabilization has quickly gone away. Rapha knows he's got an opportunity here to at least force the Ghost Walk, which is what he wants to do, making his way up to the heavy. Raisy will stick around with the shotgun, but it's not enough. He stole the item, but he didn't do any damage.
Yeah, and down an additional frag as well. Rapha knows exactly where he is. He double backs through that teleporter, said, nope, wrong way, and we'll head over to the Mega. So, you know, 6-2, we talked about, right, the pacing a little bit of this game. And again, Rapha now finding his flow once again, grabbing the Mega, will make his way over to Heavy. Still not out of it. There's a nice rail coming from Rapha, and doing the same thing basically Raisy did to him, which is trying to deny him these weapons that could put him back into position to score more frags and potentially tie it up.
And it's a tough ask for Raisy now. We're just approaching the 2-minute mark. Raisy has shown signs of life, but Rapha quickly shut that down and it's consolidated the lead. There's a big split between both major items, 10 seconds. And Rapha will focus on keeping a lockdown of these, just peppering away at Raisy so he doesn't feel confident in making a move. As long as he does that, like another Ghost Walk is gone, Rapha feels safe. He's going to back off. He knows Raisy's on the high ground.
Tri-Bolt's coming out. Does exchange a rail there too. And now Rapha making his way over. And I have to say again, you know, like Raisy, considering how long he has been playing sort of arena FPS and Quake Champions being his first big game, he's still just so impressive, especially when you think about the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that Rapha has in this game. But Rapha does grab another frag for the lead, 7-2 now.
Wow.
Less than 2 minutes left to go. Wow, indeed.
And that is going to be the final nail in the coffin if it wasn't bolted already, because 6 frags against Rapha and this little time isn't enough, and there'll be another one just to clean up for good measure. And
nope.
Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, Rapha going through the winner's bracket does get that 1 map advantage.
Yep.
And that's already, you know, that feels good, right? But, like, what feels even better? Hey, a 2 map advantage here in the grand finals. You know, certainly puts a little bit more pressure on Raisy.
It does. We'll be moving on to Raisy's server, which will definitely help given how important Raisy's aim will be in this encounter. And He'll need to come back fighting, because going down 3, now that's a mighty tall order, yeah. That'd be 4 in a row he'll need to overcome Rapha at that point.
Yeah, that's a scary position to be thinking about. But, you know, I feel like we got a chance to talk to both Raisy and Rapha today. And, you know, Raisy very much just I've got to play the game that I've got to play. Didn't necessarily have an answer for exactly how he's going to take out Rapha, but I think that just goes to show the immense amount of respect that he has towards Rapha and his game. And, of course, just what he needs to do to win potentially this grand finals.
Sure. And Rapha's shown what a champion he is and how perfect you need to play to overcome him. Raisy made 2 pivotal oversteps in that match that cost him the game, essentially. That opening frag where he got slightly too greedy to try and get some extra information off the spawn, and Rapha was already in his face. Raisy underestimated the power of the Athena. And then that second one, when Raisy had wrangled back control, a couple of frags, I think it was 4-2, and Raisy just got slightly greedy, jumping across the map to try and hit a rail instead of consolidating the heavy, and Rapha capitalized upon that, took the heavy away and took the game away. So he needs to play a perfect game to beat Rapha, and he is capable of that.
Absolutely, and I just have to make a mention that the last couple of matches, the replays that we've seen, they could just be standalone frag movies. Like, they're all just gorgeous and beautiful and insane frags. That one right there, very, very nice. And that means we are going to be moving on to Vale, where Rapha is going to be playing as Sorlag, and Galena is going to be coming out for Raisy.
So Vale is quite a combat-intensive map. We have the close proximity of the heavy and the mega. The strategy with Galena is going to be to try and dominate the high ground, particularly through that tele. You're always going to get some free damage with your totems. You want to try and build the totems up so you get that overstack, whereas Rapha, as he spoke about extensively earlier, if you're going to pick Sorlag, you want to go fast, you want to use her speed, her air control to try and bully your opponent and just have an overbearing stack. And if I'm honest, I do think Rapha's going to be fairly more comfortable in doing that, just because Raisy needs to force the issue, and when you've got a Sorlag flying at you with a max stack, it's quite hard to hold your ground.
Yeah, it could be a little bit scary seeing her come your way. And, you know, the Galena, obviously a champion that Raisy's super comfortable on. We've seen him using Galena throughout the entire tournament and to great success as well. Is that enough to just go up against Rapha? Well, obviously the game will answer that for us. But I do agree that it's not just as simple given the fact that Sorlag's coming out for Rapha. And that puts him 2 games up. Just a reminder, because Rapha did fight through that winner's bracket, he starts this grand finals with a game 1, and you know, it's just that much closer to victory. And then also with the belt, maybe you can explain if Rapha wins how this will play out.
But if Rapha wins, he takes having the belt. He'll be a 2-time. He will be tied with Kilson in terms of stage victories, but having won this stage, the World Championship, it does count for slightly more in terms of the points and standings, and it will make Rapha our ultimate champion. If somehow Raisy does turn this around and walks away with the championship, it will be Kilson as our 2-time champion that will go get that belt to take home.
Here we go. Vale is coming up next. I'm excited to watch this one. We saw some great games out of Raisy earlier on Vale, and the GLHFs come out. Like to see that sportsmanship, and here we go. We are live.
So the key for me is how effective can Raisy be at the range game, that mid to range game, keeping Rapha away. Rapha wants to close the gap on Raisy, and Raisy's positional play has to be perfect. He needs to hit his rails early, he needs to be doing damage with his rocket spam and his lightning gun, and he needs to keep backing off to try and restrict Rapha from picking that tempo up. If he can do that, that's when he's got the biggest shot in this game.
How important would you say that Spit is in this particular map for Rapha in terms of just controlling various areas?
Well, I think you see it right there. You see the heavy come up, the Spits comes out. You know that if you're going to run into an area, you're going to take some Spit and some ticking damage, which then, if you want to take the engagement, will continue to mount. One of the good things about Galena is popping that totem. If you can do it, will then nullify that. So it is somewhat of a pseudo counter in that respect, but it's so limited in that. That's just a theory point. The fact is, if you're going to take Spit in combat, you're generally taking Spit for whatever the duration that combat's going to be.
Sure. So we've started off this first minute somewhat slow, and to be expected. I think both players kind of feeling one another out, but it's very possible we could go a little further. We got Rapha setting up a little bit of a trap, and Raisy takes a little bit of damage, but Rapha as well. And now a fight over the heavy. The heavy and the mega health are very, very close in time. But as you mentioned, Mike,
Nice.
I didn't even see where that from underneath. Yeah.
And he catches him off the spawn, and Raisy didn't take any damage, so this is key. Against heavy champions, they will spawn with a heavier stack, and so they have the possibility to keep the pressure on and try and refrag you. And so whilst you're in a solid and confident position, having taken a frag, it is actually one of the most vulnerable times of matches. Raisy finds his opponent on the low ground once again and pushes in. He's also got time to go up to the high ground, quickly taking the rocket jump route, picking up Rapha, bouncing him around, but he did land onto that item and goes away very healthy. He'll keep the pressure on. You see the speed of the Sorlag coming through, and that's the pressure we're talking about. Like, gets killed, but rushes back in, and once again the pressure is there. He's so healthy, he's so stacked, and what was a nice lead, it's already tied up.
And that's what can happen here on Vale. It started off slow, but the moment that the package was opened, it was a free-for-all there on the speed, and now things have certainly picked up. The pace is becoming more and more chaotic here, which is what we like to see in Quake Champions. But Raisy still sitting with the mega health and a better armor stack. Rapha now kind of fighting to get back into position. Up that jump pad comes Raisy. Rapha's waiting for it.
Wow.
Hits a nice LG, but the rails exchange, and Raisy walks out there with just the under 50 health.
Yeah, he knew Rapha was semi-vulnerable, but not enough to go up a jump pad against the world champion. So you need to semi-retaliate, and that was the totem placement through the teleporter we're talking about. You're nearly always going to get some bonus damage, as Raisy does feel confident to push in here. He's bullying Rapha from that longer range with the lightning gun. He's picked up the mega, but Rapha is winning this exchange with the rockets. He will be also dropping down, surprising Raisy, and luckily Sorlag doesn't take acid damage, otherwise he would be dead. They're both very low. Rapha's available, but he's also shotgunnable as Raisy takes the initiative once more.
Yeah, and that's what I would be almost, more scared of at that point in time. Certainly lots of health to go around and collect here, but Raisy knew exactly where Rapha was and cleaned that up very, very nicely. He's now up by one frag. Lots of time still left on this clock, and here we go. More shotgun pellets being rained down on top of Rapha, and he does manage to pick up yet another frag.
And this is nice, and he's doing exactly what we said. He's playing the rail game so well. Rapha, you can see the urgency that's coming out from the American. He wants to close the gap, but at the minute, Raisy's being careful and using his audio cues well, but this is an overcommittal. Rapha's got position on the heavy. Raisy will be going down, and he wanted to hit an extra rail. It's just not in time, and that's the danger. The pressure is always there. If you miss a single rail, Rapha's there to kill you for it.
Yeah, and I do feel like overcommitment is something that can come pretty easily here on this particular map, just given the layout and the size, etc. And at some point, you've got to take risks, right? Like some of the best Quake players in the game, they do take risks, but they don't always pay off. In a high-profile grand final matchup like that, you might take less risks, but, these are great players, right? They will do things that we will only dream of doing. And another great follow-up frag, dropping down from above, almost every beat of that lightning gun hitting his opponent. We're tied up now, 4-4.
And it's turned around so quickly. It feels like Raisy needs to put in exponential amounts of effort to even get a single frag, and as soon as there's the minutiae of mistakes from Raisy, Rapha's got another 2 frags to his name, so it's difficult to go up against a Sorlag. The speed and the stack is overbearing, and on a map like Vale, you can always force the initiative.
We've got heavy picked up by Rapha. He's going to make his way over. Finds Raisy yet again. LG coming out, and I feel like LG's kind of been a weapon of choice here. And a suicide coming out from Raisy. Rapha just so stacked that the rocket up close does enough damage to take away that frag and give Rapha the lead. Not the way that Raisy wanted to give up the lead.
Not at all, and it's at a point now where Rapha's nearly reaching critical mass. He's in position for this heavy. Raisy's nowhere to be seen. He might get in for a little bit of chip damage here, and he does, but if he sticks around, he's bound to die, and it looks like he's overcommitted once again. The totem's there, but at what cost? He has caught Rapha, though, so it is actually much better than it could have been. It's still not enough, though, as Rapha now can retreat onto this mega and once again regain that stack. And whilst Raisy is delaying that critical mass point of max stack for Rapha, he's losing frags.
I mean, what do you think he does in that situation? Just like back up and choose a better battlefield to go at it, right? I mean, at some point, you're giving Rapha the game if you just let him take away the heavy and the mega, but.
I mean, you've just asked the eternal question of how to play on the defense. Like, it's pick your poison. You have to make yourself felt. You have to have a presence, but it's finding that balance of being able, and this is why players like Cypher and the greats of the game are the greats of the game, because they know how to manage unreturned damage. It's going in, it's dealing damage, it's getting out unscathed, and it's finding that balance of a full committal and just being able to chip away at your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, thinking 10, 15 steps ahead is certainly a big part of that too. Knowing what you can and cannot do, what risks you can take. Another fight here at the heavy. It seems to be an area of a lot of action.
Nice.
Forced by Raisy. Great traded rails right there. Mega's back up now. And, there's still just 3 frags. Like, it's absolutely doable at this point. But Rapha he's had lockdown most of the map.
It is 3 frags, but the difficulty is that the frags have to be clean from Raisy, because if one comes away, it's a little bit scrappy. We've seen how that story goes. Rapha respawns, he presses W, and before you know it, you've got the lizard spitting in your face. So it's this is the challenge for Raisy, and that rocket doesn't help. He does walk over the totem, but he's not going to survive. He might pick up this mega, but he's still walking away with his tail between his legs. He even eats a rail for his troubles, and Rapha does finish Raisy off relatively cleanly.
Yeah, unfortunate that mega was pretty much negated with that rail. Did save his life, but there was going to be another one as we picked up 2 more frags from Rapha off of the last 2 spawns. It looks like there might be a 3rd one coming out here. Some great rockets and good reads coming out by Rapha, and it just doesn't matter where Raisy goes. Whatever escape path he's going for, it seems like Rapha's right on top of him.
And you can feel the desperation coming out from Raisy. It's like he's clawing his way, trying to find an in, but there are no cracks in the armor of Rapha now. As you say, that momentum is unbearable. There was a period of time where Raisy was very much in this, but it was slowly taken away ever so cruelly by Rapha, and he's marching towards his victory now.
Yep, 10-3 now, and look at how quickly things can change from this is a winnable game with 3 minutes to go to like this one is probably over, and puts Rapha in what I would call just a commanding lead here in the grand finals with a potential 3rd map win in addition to the Blood Covenant, and then the map that he got from fighting through the upper bracket.
Sure, and something that's so incredible about Rapha in Quake Champions is just his thought process behind champion selection. There's a lot of players out there that will pick a champion for comfort or based on what they think they will play best with in that environment, whereas Rapha feels that he has this 360 view of all the qualities that will make that champion the right choice for that map at this time. And you can just sense that he's on another level in this regard, and that the whole logic of it is just that much better than other players at this point in time.
Which is pretty impressive too, because it doesn't just come down to the champion itself, it comes down to how each individual player plays that champion. So like you're talking about a level of variable that, right, to most people who might just pick up the game and play may not understand, see at the surface, but clearly just based off of some of the domination and some of the strategic decision making we're seeing here, that is absolutely the case.
Yeah, for sure. And it is based on the opponents and what they pick. And it's all those factors that make it such a difficult task. And you might see some people pick the same champion on the same maps every single time, whereas Rapha, the versatility is incredible. So this is why he's a prior champion and in pole position to take this World Championship as well.
Yeah, and I mean, even at the highest level of Quake, right? You can have great days, you can have a not so awesome day, and you could have a terrible day too. And even between 2 phenomenal players, one great player can still make the other player look like, wait, did they go to sleep on this map? It's just, I'm still so impressed with what I am seeing out of Raisy, but Rapha, who may not have looked at his best in day 1 and maybe in a little bit of day 2, he came knowing it doesn't matter as long as I play how I need to play on the finals day. And I'd argue that Raisy is in the exact same spot. I mean, we talked a little bit about the run that he made. He defeated Toxic, he lost to Wenger, but then defeated and knocked out Avic, defeated and knocked out Base, defeated and knocked out Cooler. And then today, you know, he's gone through a whole another set of games that has been, you know, equally brutal. And I just have to give it up for his stamina as well. Like, hats off to Raisy for that.
I mean, that's a question. I mean, I don't know if you have an opinion, but is fatigue, is that stamina side of things something that needs to be considered? Because, I mean, we joked about it in the break, but he's played more games today than I've casted. So, and as you say, that whole lower bracket run, as much as it was somewhat self-inflicted, you might argue, by dropping into that, I don't know, dungeon, everyone knows how brutal they are. Is it something that might be playing a factor in this final? I mean, I know in the past people say, well, you can build momentum, you get your confidence from running through the lower bracket, but as you say, it is a grueling task when he's had to come up against the very best players in the world time and time again.
Dan, I think there's truth to it, right? I think it'd be silly to think that there isn't truth to it, that just like anything else, we all have a set limit of stamina. But I would also argue that every single player comes with their own stamina set. I have seen players that are like, yeah, whatever, hour 16, let's go, like, let's do it. Seen other players say, you know, like they need that time in between games to maybe calm down, to like analyze what happened. And you know, so it's hard to say because only Raisy can you know answer that question. Based off of his performance, I would say that his stamina has not depleted to the point that I feel like it has affected what he's been able to do. But here we are on yet another game. It's a factor. It is, and it's one of the advantages of winning through the winners bracket, just as it would be in any other sport, whether that is Quake or whether that's basketball or football, whatever. That is one of the advantages of winning. So yeah, I do think that it comes into play. Is it coming into play now? You know, probably a little bit, because you get tired, but you know, based off of Raisy's previous performances and even against his teammate Wenger just last round, you know, he did not look like he was lacking stamina in that game, you know?
Point. So moral of the story is don't lose.
I mean,
that's what I take away from that.
Easier said than done, because you tell a Quake player that and they might just laugh at you. It's not that easy, even though we could sit here and say, yeah, just make it through the winners bracket and then you don't have to worry about the stamina problem. It's not necessarily the case, but certainly we see this in esports a lot, right? I mean, it goes without saying, sometimes our days can last a little bit longer, maybe as a series goes all the way, and those mistakes can, you know, start to build up. And I think that's where ultimately, you know, players have to remain focused. They have to be thinking about the game that's ahead of them. They can't let what happened 5 games ago be a part of mentally what they're carrying and their luggage with that. But you know what? Just like I said, you got to focus on the game now. And here we are, Corrupted Keep, the game now. And the most important thing we could say here is that Raisy has to win to stay alive.
He does indeed. And as much as I say it was his best chance, it is also his last chance, because if Rapha is to win this map, he will go up 4-0 and that will be it. He will be our champion. So last chance saloon for Raisy, who is on the stroke, and Pika, as a Pika comes out early, unfortunately does no damage. Rapha backing off. He's already dropped his turret and doesn't have a rocket, so won't be wanting to take any engagements just for now. Raisy needs to maintain a strong position on his high ground, but Rapha, unfazed by where Raisy is, actually wants to go on the aggressive, knowing that Raisy doesn't have anything to work with except a rocket, and Rapha comes out on top to take our first frag of this game 4.
You know, that was such a nice rocket coming out from Raisy. I thought he was going to get the follow-up to that, and it may not matter. We do have a traded frag situation here, so it means like we just reset. Rapha up by 1, but both players kind of starting no stack. We did see Rapha grab that mega health, now making his way over. I think he's going to try to slow it down a little bit. That opening minute was chaotic, no doubt.
It was, and it shows the thought process of Rapha. In a normal player's head, in my head, he shouldn't really be progressing onto the high ground. Raisy had position, he had the rockets, but Rapha reading the situation, knowing he could go through quickly, get it to a mid-range and use that lightning gun. Perfect decision making from Rapha. He also has now position on the mega, and that is a very clean frag.
You know, we asked Rapha earlier in an interview in regards to, hey, when you're up 2 maps, does that change, right, the way that you might approach another map? And he said, absolutely, right? I might take a couple risks that I wouldn't have taken otherwise.
Sure,
I could be aggressive, and that might work out to my advantage. And I think, to your point, this is exactly what we're seeing. Like, there's got to be some level of comfort that Rapha is carrying alongside him that says, you know what, I can play a little bit aggressive. Maybe I'm going to go out of my way in ways that I wouldn't normally, you know, because he's got that lead and he's got that cushion to be able to do so.
Yeah, and you can see already Raisy getting bullied around the map. Rapha has now taken a full rotation of items, not just the heavy and the mega, but also the lights. And Raisy has nothing to work with. He's waiting out on this mega, but Rapha doesn't spot his opponent around the corner. The Pika comes out, but he doesn't really do a lot. Raisy is hiding. Raisy will retreat. But Rapha, once again, has a full lockdown. He'll go pick up this light. He knows when it's taken because he took it, and he'll also then double back to try and deal some damage and pick up the other light. And at the moment, Raisy needs to break this lockdown.
Yeah, he does. And I'm gonna be biased here, right? I want to see Raisy get the frag. I want to see him with a little bit of control and what that does to Rapha in terms of like how he's going to change up his play as well. But Raisy just having a hard time even getting his foot in the door, to be honest. And you know, well, we're gonna have to see what happens. Oh, comes around the corner. Oh, a little. He's like, and Raisy, I learned that from you. Shotgun blast right around the corner. Ouch.
And this is the hardest moment of a match. It's such a feels bad, man. When you have nothing to work with, you can see Raisy. He doesn't know when these items spawn. As soon as you clock on to the fact of when these item timings are, you then need to play a very difficult game to cut off your opponent. You need to block their route. You need to try and delay them so you can fall back on one of these items. But Raisy hasn't taken a single item for over 2 minutes. Heavy, mega, or lights. So he's in a very precarious situation. He needs to spam more. He needs to try and use the machine gun more to chip away at Rapha, to try and delay Rapha's advances. But he cannot do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's hung out on that middle bridge quite a bit. We are going to have Peeker come out, and that is going to be a huge cue for Rapha to just say, well, I could just ignore that and take you out, and he does, making it 6-1. I was going to say, you know, hanging out in that middle area, even the times where he thought, oh, I think Rapha is over here, Rapha just sort of had a beat on it. Like, he hasn't really had the opportunity to get that chip damage off much against Rapha.
You can see Rapha just scudding around the outskirts of the map, spamming through the doorway. He's prepared for it, and he's ready to take that engagement because he's the one with the stack. He's also caught Raisy through that choke point. Raisy drops onto a rocket. He might get away, but at what cost as he scutters away with not a lot to work with. The Mega's up soon, but he can't contest, surely.
Yeah, I don't see any way that he could have. I mean, he could have, but it just could have been another frag, and that's not what he's trying to do here. Peeker comes out yet again. That actually gives away his position. No real damage done there. And once again, like, that feeling of being trapped. I feel trapped watching Rapha constantly keeping Raisy in these sort of contained in these sections of the map.
There is an opportunity now as Raisy's done enough to suppress Rapha's stack, and the Mega's up. Raisy's not in position though. He's missed out on a huge opportunity as Rapha's stopped him in his tracks. And Raisy once again is back to square one.
And the chase is on for Rapha. Raisy down to just below 50 health, so he's got to be very, very careful here. And Rapha's going to be on the hunt now. Shotgun out, just pegs with a couple of pellets right there. Nothing too major. But, I mean, like, where does Raisy go, right? Rapha looks to be like he is holding on to not only a turret, but also a crystal ball.
And this is, A, the problem of playing Rapha, and B, the problem of playing on Corrupted Keep. It's a brutal map. There's no railgun to fall back on, so it's all about positioning, it's all about strategy, and when your opponent is playing as perfectly as Rapha and cycling everything on the map, you have to ask yourself, what do I do? And sometimes there is no answer.
That's a scary place to be.
It is. And the sad thing is, sometimes it comes down to a mistake or crazy shots, and at one way or another, neither one of those factors is happening.
8-1, 4 minutes remaining. Is it possible? Sure, it could be. Is it going to be hard as hell? 100%. You know, I would never count out someone like Raisy. There's still possibility here, but again, like, it would be the most incredible comeback, but you know, he's keeping at it again in the heavy room. Seeing a lot of great shotgun usage coming out from Rapha as well.
Wow.
And I mean, he's just running a clinic right now.
I can't remember the last time we saw Rapha below 100 effective health and armor. It's just been a masterclass of how to play, and this is against one of the most mechanically gifted, skilled players in the game. I mean, we do see it now, but it's right before light armor, it's right before the health, and it's right before the heavy, so very quickly he'll be back up to sighting stack.
And that's got to be frustrating too, because the moment that he does, right, he's like, all right, I have an opportunity, came around the corner, shot the shotgun. Unfortunately, Rapha was right there with the exact same answer as he had. And, you know, that's got to feel just really constricting, really frustrating.
Although Raisy has constructed opportunity here, maybe to get a frag. He needs to find Rapha, and it is still possible. It is a long road, and for him to win, he will need to play as perfectly as Rapha. Rapha's taking this engagement down here on the low ground. The Pika comes out, but Rapha has the answers. One of the bonuses of picking Strogan Pika is that Pika, because you don't have that railgun to take out that Pika.
Yep.
What Rapha's done is to switch to the shotgun and blast out the sky, so it's been literally ineffective.
And here we go, he's trying to bring it back, but once again, he comes off that kill pretty clean.
No.
But Rapha was doing such a great job with his side of the chip damage that, you know, it forced Raisy to back off. And it's now 12-2, 10 frags. We're getting scary here as we're about to hit the 2-minute warning.
And the way Rapha played that engagement was how Raisy should have played it 5 minutes ago. He took a strong position over by the heavy. He had a get out and escape option. He did damage to Raisy, and that delayed Raisy's pickup of the next item because he had to go pick up health. And it does look like now we're approaching the territory of no return for Raisy, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean, just it's been incredible to watch these players all weekend long, and just to see the individual skill that comes out in every single game. You know, it seems crazy to think that 2 days ago we were like, yeah, you know, this wasn't necessarily the Rapha that we would expect to be able to win a championship, but then for him to just be able to turn it on the way he did, and rightfully so. Like, Raisy has done absolutely the same, and you know, you've heard the term any given Sunday, and when it comes down to that, it's also any given Quake match, right? Two incredible players, but Rapha is coming out as the better Quake champion today.
On that point, I would love to ask you a question, Wade.
Yes.
You have obviously been a part of some of the greatest finals we've ever seen and witnessed many, many great players. How does this champion in Rapha, which will be our champion in 40 seconds, stack up against those you've witnessed before?
I mean, you know, Rapha has clearly earned his spot as one of the champion eras. You know, if you think about the Thresh, if you think about Fatality, if you think about 0-4, you think about Rapha. I mean, certainly there's many other players that have been champions as well, but with the level of consistency and with almost an air of fear that they bring to it, like, Rapha has solidified that. Now, with that being said, and me not being surprised that we're seeing this in the last 10 seconds, what I want to say to you is, like, think about if Raisy continues to gather this experience, continues to play as well he's been playing against these great players, right? You're talking about a few years of experience versus 10+ years of experience, and that in and of itself should be impressive to everyone who is watching. So is Rapha the champion that the Quake World Championships deserve? 100%. He has worked so hard, especially this year. He's gone through some rough life, and for him to still pick himself up and to show himself as the Quake World Champion, that is damn impressive.
Take your hat off to this man. He has put forward some of the best performances we have ever seen. Stage 2 finals was perhaps the best Quake LAN of all time, and he will be taking home this belt as our 2-stage champion. Congratulations, Rapha.
Absolutely amazing, and you know, as you mentioned, going to be able to put that belt around his waist. His name's on it once. It's going to be on there a second time, and you know, he did win the Stage 2 finals, and this whole season, just kind of wrap. Kilson wins the kickoff.